Hi, this is Lisa. In this video, we're going to talk about the graphs of equations. Before we can graph an equation, we have to know how to graph a point on a set of axes. So this problem was taken from MyLabs Plus, and it asks us to plot the point A, B, C, and D. So first thing I want to go over with you is the x-axis is the axis that looks kind of like a horizontal number line where 0 is in the middle and we count positive to the right and negative numbers to the left. Our y-axis is kind of like a vertical number line. Again, we would have 0 in the middle. So any point is given an x-coordinate followed by a y-coordinate. So the horizontal position and the vertical position for our points. So in order to plot point A, we're going to look for an x-coordinate of 4 and a y-coordinate of 1. So my x-axis, I have a label for 4 here. 1 is going to be this very first tick mark on the y-axis. So I want to go where those two grid lines or those two coordinates intersect. That's the point 4, 1, or the point A. Next, we're going to look at point B. Point B has x-coordinate of -9 and y-coordinate of 3. So -9 means I have to shift kind of over to the left from my origin. -9 is going to be over here. And then +3 in the y direction means I'm going up 3 units. +3 is going to be up there. So I'm going to put a point here and I'm going to label that point B. Now point C has x-coordinate 5 and y-coordinate 0. 5 on the x-axis, there's going to be right at that tick mark there for 5, and y value of 0 means it is right on the x-axis. And so that's going to be my point. I'm going to label it C. And our last point here, 3, -3. X-coordinate 3, y-coordinate -3. So again, I'm going to find x is 3 on the x-axis and y is -3 on the y-axis, and I'm going to look at where those two intersect, and that's my point D. Now I'm going to pull up this problem in MyLabs Plus. We're going to have to choose a multiple choice answer, and if you notice, point A, point C, and point D are in a kind of like a triangle right here, and all the way over on the left side, negative x-coordinate, positive y-coordinate is point B. So when you look at this in MyLabs Plus, they've given you 4 different graphs and asked you to find the right one. So when I look at these, it looks like A, C, and D are all clustered over here on the right, both in B and in D. Now when I blow this one up, when I look at this, B has a negative x-coordinate, but it also has a negative y-coordinate. We said we wanted B to be a positive y-coordinate, so we know that one is not the correct answer. When I click on choice D, there's my A, C, and D in my little triangle that I talked about, and then B has x-coordinate -9, y-coordinate +3. So that's my correct answer. So I choose that one and click check answer. It will tell me that it's the correct answer. The next thing we're going to do is determine whether or not a given point is a solution of an equation. So in this example, I'm asked, is -2, 3 a solution of 2x plus 5y equals 11? So my points have an x and a y coordinate. So in my equation, where I have x, I'm going to plug in -2, and where I have y, I'm going to substitute in a 3. So I'm going to have 2 parentheses -2 plus 5 parentheses 3 equals 11. I want to know, is that a true statement? Is -4 plus 15 equal to 11? Yes, it is. So is this a solution of the equation? My answer is yes. In my second example here, I have 4, 1. So again, I have an x and a y value in my point. So Here, notice the y comes first. I'm going to have to do 3 times 1 plus, and when I substitute in x, it's 4. Is that equal to 8? 3 plus 4 is not equal to 8, so the answer here is no. 4, 1 is not a solution to that equation. And we have one more example here. Again, remember, x-coordinate followed by y-coordinate. When I substitute my values in 3 times, x is 5 plus 5 times y, which is 0. Is that equal to 15? 3 times 5 is 15 plus 5 times 0 is 0. Yes, that is 15. It makes my equation true, so yes, that one is a solution to my equation. Next, we're going to complete a table of values. Write the result as ordered pairs and then plot the ordered pairs. So in this one, instead of giving us points, they've given us a table or a chart of values. So if I look at the first line here, they're asking me to find the y value when x is 0. So I'm going to go to my equation and I'm going to substitute in for x the value 0. 3 times 0 plus 2y equals 12. 3 times 0 is 0, so I can kind of eliminate that, and I'm left with 2 times y equals 12. To solve for y, I need to divide both sides of my equation by 2, and I get y equals 6. So I'm going to fill that into my chart. In the next line, here they're asking us what happens when y equals 0. So this time, let me change colors here. This time, when y equals 0, I'm going to substitute that into my equation, and I get 3x plus 2 times 0 equals 12. 2 times 0 is 0, so I'm left with 3x equals 12. And if I divide both sides of my equation by 3, I get x equals 4. I'm going to fill that into my chart. The third line in our chart is asking us to find what happens when x equals 2. So we're going to go back and we're going to plug 2 in for x. 3 times 2 plus 2 times y equals 12. 6 plus 2y equals 12. In order to solve for y, I need to subtract 6 from both sides of the equation. And when I subtract 6 from both sides of the equation, I get 2y equals 6. And to solve for y, I'm going to divide both sides by 2. And I wind up with y equals 3. So I'm going to plug that into my chart. And in the last line, they asked me to substitute y equals negative 3. So when I do that in the original equation, 3x plus 2 times negative 3 equals 12. Gives me 3x minus 6 equals 12. To solve for to solve for x, I need to add 6 to both sides of the equation. Running out of space here, 3x equals 18. And to solve for x, I need to divide both sides by 3. So x equals 6. So I'm going to put the 6 into my chart. And now you can leave it in chart format. Some of the homework, though, is going to ask you to rewrite those as ordered pairs. Okay, the first ordered pair where x equals 0. So the very first one, x is 0, we found y should be 6. The second ordered pair or point where y is 0, we found that the x value should be 4. Our third point or ordered pair was 2, 3, and the fourth one was 6, negative 3. So all we're doing here is rewriting what we had in the chart as ordered pairs or points. And the last step is we're going to plot all 4 of those points. So the first point was 0, 6. So x is 0 right at the origin, and then 6 means we're going to go up 6 units on the y-axis, and there's our point, 0, 6. 4, 0 means we're going to go to 4 on the x-axis, and since the y-coordinate is 0, we're going to stay right there on the x-axis, and that is 4, 0. Our third point was 2, 3. So I need to go 2 in the x direction and then up 3 in the y direction. And there's my point 2, 3. And the fourth point that we found was 6, negative 3. So 6 in the x direction, negative 3, we're going to go down 3 this time in the y direction. There's our point, 6, negative 3. Now this one just said to plot the points, but I want to point something out to you. If you were actually to connect those points, they line up in a straight line. When we're graphing linear equations, we want those points to line up. Okay? You should be able to connect them with a straight line. And our next problem says graph by plotting points. Y equals 3/2 x. Now in this example, they have not given us numbers to plug in. Okay, so we need to either think about creating an XY chart or points. I kind of like setting it up in chart format. And all I need to graph a line is I need 2 points that I can connect. So in this one, I can choose different values for x, and I can find the corresponding y values. Or I could choose values for x and find corresponding values. Here, I'm going to let x be 0, and then I'm going to let x be 2. So when I do the first one, it says replace x with 0. Y equals 3/2 times 0. 3/2 times 0 is 0. So the first point that I'm going to plot is 0, 0. The second one that I chose, and I chose 2 for a reason, because my denominator is 2, I thought 2 would be a nice number to multiply by. So 3/2 times 2 is 6/2, or 3. So I'm going to have 0, 0, and 2, 3 are the 2 points that I'm plotting. 0, 0 is right at the origin, and 2, 3. Go over 2 in the x direction and up 3 in the y direction. There's my second point, and I can connect that with a straight line. So that's how you do that by hand. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to graph using your calculators.